Andrew Van Ginkel. So in some form or fashion, I had already done more or less a videotape, a video analysis, film analysis, tape review, whatever name you want to put to it, breaking down more or less how I felt. I saw AVG's 2020 go, and it was really positive for me. I saw a lot of great signs of somebody who could potentially be an every down player on defense, and more so be taken off of special teams. So most of us really expected when Calvin Noy was released for there to be a replacement for him, probably in the pricier free agency, as well as maybe a potential draft pick. This is being recorded pre-draft, but this is based off of a little bit of the conference that Chris Greer recently had, where he named AVG by name, as far as a player that he had a huge year two jump. And I do believe that this is more of them thinking that this is going to be a long-term move and a long-term piece for them. I had to go back and really dive in deeper because Chris Greer made it seem like, this is a guy that's going to be playing a lot of snaps coming in 2021. So I agree. Let's dive in.
There goes Mike Gesicki. My goodness.
I'm OG, y'all new to the game.
Powers in for the Miami touchdown. Patrick's going to take a deep shot for Preston Williams. What a start. Tua down the middle. Picked off by Byron Jones. Dolphins score.
One of the under-the-radar names that quite honestly might have made Calvin Noy expandable is Andrew Van Ginkel. AVG heading into 2020 wasn't really a player many expected to play significant snaps on defense. He was looked at more of a pass rush specialist who was a liability in the run game, if we're being honest with each other, especially in setting the edge, taking on blockers, and taking double teams. And look, to be fair with him, and it wasn't that he was shying away from contact, but he almost wanted to rely more on a pure finesse game, which, it probably did work in college in Wisconsin, and he probably did beat up a lot of O-linemen with his speed and his ability to bend. But in 2020, it was a completely different story, as he elevated his play every chance he got, finishing the year with 16 games played, 11 starts, 29 solo tackles, 4 passes defended, 7 tackles for losses, and 5.5 sacks. And really, something to really keep note of is his snap count for the year. His 3 most impactful games came in when he played over 72% of the snaps. Versus San Francisco, 4 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble on 72% of the snaps on defense. Versus the Raiders, 7 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for losses on 88% of the snaps. Versus the Bills the second time, 5 solo tackles, 3 tackles for losses, and 1 sack on 72% of the snaps. And I think this is kind of why Calvin Noy was, the move was able to be made without like a true replacement coming in. And yes, this is being recorded pre-draft, so they could go ahead and draft a first-round draft pick and at edge rusher, and then this is all mute. But I feel like they expect more out of Andrew Van Ginkel on defense, which will lead to a reduced role in special teams. And that was kind of signaled to me with the Jordan Scarlett signing. He's more of a player that predominantly did what AVG did last year in 2020. And I'm sure he's going to probably more so be the opposite. He's going to be more on special teams while AVG's are more on defense. In 2021, I expect those numbers to be flipped around and AVG playing around 72% of the snaps on defense and maybe 30 to 40% of the snaps on special teams. But more so than just the numbers, AVG stepped up when it mattered most and was able to answer a lot of his critics, me included, taking on elite blockers in the run game like Trent Williams and George Kittle versus San Francisco, recovering fumbles for touchdowns versus the Rams, and excelling in special teams and forcing fumbles versus Arizona. But for all his best traits that, are a lot of them, the one that continues to stand out for me the most is his effort. Too many times do I see back-to-back plays where he's doing 1 tackle, 1 sack, 1 pass deflection, and more so than that, he goes and he fights to block a punt. He scratches and claws to force an uncomfortable throw by a quarterback, and wrestling Melvin Gordon from not just scoring but also forcing the fumble to give the Dolphins a chance at the end, and even bullying a 6'8" Colton Miller. The guy is just versatile. He can stop screens, he can affect the run game, he can affect the pass game, and I fully expect 2021 to be more of his coming out party. I know he had a big year 2 jump, but I feel like year 3, with more snaps, more opportunity, and more of a chance to be of an impact player, I think AVG and that beautiful blonde hair will really impress us.
Dolphins score!